Look. I started talking. I was like, hold on. Look, you know what? I don't want to talk about too much because I'm like, I have a whole dentist sitting next to me. I'm like, maybe not make myself
bro,
look
I'm not
stupid.
an animal dentist, bro.
All
All right.
right. Up next.
Deion Sanders decided he wanted to coach at JSU, Jackson State University, at HBCU, for those of you who do not know.
HBCU.
Jackson, Mississippi.
The
in
SWAC.
the SWAC conference.
Shout out to
You know about that.
Shout out to Valley. Shout out to Jackson State. Shout out to Alcorn. Shout out to Grambling. Shout out to all y'all, man. Shout out to everybody, man. I got love for my HBCUs.
Shout out to the HBCUs, man. So this is a sports story, but it's much more than that. It touches on a lot of bigger issues, about, black athletes, how someone can monopolize, talent.
Yeah.
Monopolizing black talent, and you don't have any ownership of it as a community. And again, this is not. Sometimes I think things are funny when people think like these type of topics are race baiting. People call something like it's not race baiting. It's a reality, man. Like it's reality.
This is real.
It's a real issue when the predominant amount of talent comes from a certain community, and they don't profit the most off of that talent.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? That same community isn't profiting the most off the talent that they're producing. That is, to me, just a human issue anyone could understand. You know what I'm saying? Here, it happens to be black talent. It's in the sports of football and a lot of times basketball.
It's in basketball too.
It's in basketball.
Look at Memphis. Remember
Yeah.
with,
and so the reason why a lot of black people get excited about stories like this is because we have a history in this country beyond, all the oppression and, all the subjugation and all. I can get into so much of that. But look, beyond all of that, we have a history of building our own institutions and then sending all of our best talent away from those institutions. And now we're integrated where basically all of our talent and riches and resources, which is our human resources, are now used to be mass products for another industry that does not benefit us. Yes. Shipping out our dollar, our efforts and all of our talent to help some other industry. It can be where you're talking about hip hop, basketball, football. It's crazy
football,
we innovate something or we make something so.
That's the history of the country. I mean, that's our history.
And then we don't benefit that much from it. So when we see something like this, with Deion going back to JSU, we know it's going to bring in better recruiting, and that's going to help fund that school better, which is going to help black education, which is going to help the black people advance more in the corporate world, because now we'll have more qualified candidates, and it will the list will go on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so, that's why we see something like this, and it's just a domino effect. And it's a big deal. One man can make a big difference. So,
What do you think could come from this? And I'll talk after you. Well, what do you think can come from
everything.
Sanders doing this?
Everything. If we take a lot of our talent and put it and funnel it into trying to advance our own community, we wouldn't need anyone else to offer some type of stimulus or, subsidize, our own infrastructures. Mm-hmm. We could fund it ourselves. If you think about a lot of the money that comes from Duke basketball, where is it coming from? Kentucky basketball.
What is the number that the NCAA generates? I don't even.
I'm sure
it has to be in the billions.
No,
right?
It's for sure in the billions. Of
Okay.
dollars. Each institution is making multi-millions of dollars. It's in the billions of dollars. Right. Multi-billion. That's how they can pay coaches millions of dollars a year. Mm-hmm. They get millions of dollars shielders on top of that. And it's like, if we funnel that in to our own institutions.
You got the SWAC, you got the MEAC. I think it's one more that I'm missing, but I know for sure the SWAC. Like I'm talking about, because I played football. I had the experience to play at a predominantly white school, big school in the SEC, and then I also played in the SWAC. At the school called Mississippi Valley State. Shout out to Valley, Delta Devils. But seeing the difference, like the talent at the school I was at in the SEC started from the same level that the guys in the SWAC was at. Like, because when I say that there are some dogs playing in the SWAC right now, but I think I don't think the difference is in that dog mentality is there. If anything, that dog mentality is really in the SWAC for real, because at the SWAC, like you got to get it out the mud. You ain't got these multi-million-dollar facilities and multi-million. The food is a big deal, and y'all know what I'm talking about. But like the food is a big deal. The facilities is a big deal. The coaching staff is a big deal. All the living conditions are a big deal. But that dog mentality, is there. But I think the biggest issue, to hit what you was talking on, is that money, like imagine if even a quarter of that money was touching the HBCUs in whatever conference you in. If even a quarter of that money was being filtered back into them HBCUs, it would be over with, because the experience I got playing at Valley with the bands and the tailgating and all of that stuff.
Yeah. A whole different thing.
The PWIs, there's no offense to PWIs or to the people who went to PWIs. There's nothing wrong with that. The parties and all that stuff is good and stuff like that. But it's just like the experience at a PWI can't even hold a candlestick to how it was on homecoming. Everybody and their mama is out there sleeping for 2-3 days in they camper. You come out, you hearing the bands and the trumpets, and you hearing the snare drums and the majorettes and the drum line and the frats. Bro, there's no way you can even compare it to that.
Right.
So if that money, and so I'm just saying that to say, like, with Deion, with him coming back and coaching at Jackson State, I feel like, number one, for certain, and this, I'm not gonna make no promise to it, but I feel like the NCAA on some real stuff, they're gonna have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the fact that he's coming to coach at the SWAC, but it's the fact of what door he opened.
Yeah, man.
Because now it's like Jerry Rice, the all-time, I don't know if he's, I don't know it, but one of the top receivers of all time. You got all of these guys, and a lot of these guys came from HBCU.
Shannon Sharp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where he go?
Savannah State.
Oh, Samantha?
Yeah.
Boom. What if he went back there and went and did,
He's trying to make it happen.
That's opening a whole different door.
It's speaking to, man, it's not race baiting, bro.
It's not race baiting.
It's black independence, man.
Y'all gotta get out of that.
Anybody wants their community to see their community less reliant, especially one with the history that we have. Being always oppressed and being subjugated. And then whenever we start getting our own, getting someone trying to knock that down, people want to be independent and free. And it's a movement. And I love the movement I'm seeing. I love what I saw from Mikey Williams in basketball, saying I might go to the NBA. We already seen McCord.
Who that?
Committed, Thon Makers.
Thon
Makers' little brother. He committed to Howard. So he's going there. So like, if you can get all this talent, to circulate the money to help your own community, that is a huge deal. And when we talk about the education discrepancies and all these type of things.
Mikey just transferred too.
He's going to some school, but hopefully he keeps on that word, and that's what happened. And at the time we did have, when we had the Negro Leagues and the ABA and these other things, they were popping. Like this whole myth that these things were like second class and no one really went, they were popping. So people can say that you can make a very legitimate argument that the abolition of those, exclusively segregated leagues and then the push for integration did more harm to those same communities than it did good.
Man.
Because in the same way, you're saying, okay, well, we're letting people play together, but at the same time, what ends up happening is you end up shipping all the best talent to make money for an institution that is not your own. And to help a community, and that money's not coming back to circulate within your own community, and there's a ripple effect.
And that can be
what I'm saying?
Applied to so many different avenues other than just sports, but sports obviously being a big one.
And real quick, there's an interview that one of the commissioners of, I forget what HBCU league, he did basically an interview where he kind of explained this in depth. And I'll probably try to link that, either I'll put it in the video or put it in the description. But
commissioner of the SIC, it's a 100-year-old NCAA conference of 14 HBCUs. We keep dancing around the issue of control. right? If you look up the definition of integration and then assimilation, we have a funny way of executing integration in this country. How we execute it is give us your best and talented people, and then put their talents in the service of our institutions, not yours. But we'll control it. And case in point, if you ask the question, which school produced the most NFL players in 1980, the answer to that question would be Grambling University. That'll be the answer. If you ask that question today, you know what the answer is? Which school, university produced the most NFL players? It's LSU. What do Grambling and LSU have in common? They're in Louisiana. So there's been a mindset change, right? That our best and brightest athletes are going to the NFL not through an historically black college, but through LSU. College sports is a $12 billion a year business. 2 sports make money. You got all kinds of sports. You got soccer, you got golf, you got swimming. 2 sports make money. Football and basketball. Basketball and football. Basketball at the top 5 power conferences, 60% of the athletes are African American young men. 55% of the football players are African American young men. So again, $12 billion a year. 2 sports generate money. Those athletes don't get paid. Now, where's the money going? Well, if you look at the ADs, 90% non-black. Head football coaches, 90% white. Head basketball coaches, 90% white. Presidents, 100% white. When you look at the campuses, right? Florida State, 70% African American football, basketball players. 2 or 3% undergraduate African Americans. UCLA, 66% of the basketball football team black. 1% undergraduate black. So where you see the money being generated, right? It's African Americans everywhere to be seen. Where the opportunities that are a byproduct of that money, which are jobs on campus, educational opportunities, you don't see any black people be seen. It comes back, Kane, to control. At our schools, we hire African American coaches and officials and referees, etc. I'll make one last point to crystallize this. People talk about how Jackie Robinson integrated baseball.
Right.
And Jackie Robinson was my hero. What he did took a lot of intestinal fortitude. But it's inaccurate to characterize what he did as integrating baseball. He was assimilated into baseball. That was not integration. Because guess what? In exchange for one job, we gave up Negro League Baseball.
Right.
And by the way, Negro League Baseball was successful. You had black general managers, you had black coaches, you had black ticket takers. So in exchange for one job, right, we gave up ownership and control of an entire league. And we didn't get another managerial job until Frank Robinson in the 70s, 40 years later. So again, the red herring to me is, well, who's in control?
But I think he did an excellent job of elaborating on what I'm saying. But we know that to be true. So that's why when you see black people get excited, for something move like this, understand where they're coming from. You should be excited for them. Because if you really value, the next man, like, people claim that they do.
Claim to be, yeah.
Right, or you would love to see a community actually prospering. A lot of people tell, stop being lazy or whatever, do things for yourself. Okay, this is an example of people trying to do things for themselves. And he's not asking for any handout or anything like that. They're making something happen for their own community, you know what I'm saying? So you should do nothing but respect and applaud that. And that's why it's such a big deal, man. So shout out to Coach Prime, man. We wish nothing but success for him. Shout out to McCord for committing to Howard. Yeah. I think his name is pronounced McCord, but I think we say Thon Maker, so maybe it's McCord Maker, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that's
yeah, man. I want to see that movie, man.
We could sit up and talk about that, like, we really could sit up and talk about that all day long, man.
And real quick, whenever someone's talking about independence or eliminating the middleman and, monopolizing their own talent, if you come from that same community and you're trying to knock that, you know what I'm saying?
Then you a hater.
You're not only a hater, bro, but I can say so many words about you, as a man.
That we can't even say on.
Or as a man, or as a member of the community, bro. You really have to evaluate yourself. You talk, because I've seen people when the players in the NBA were talking about, maybe starting their own league. Even if you don't feel like it's the most practical thing.
Like LeVar Ball, prime example.
Even if you don't feel like it's the most practical thing, if you sit there and you just want to knock that, You got more evaluation to do about yourself than you do about them. Like that's straight up. That's like literally someone working for a job and someone telling you, "Hey man, I'm thinking about starting my own business," and you like, so why would you do that?
Yeah, it's not honestly.
There's no price you can ever put on freedom.
Yeah,
no price.
There are really a lot of people like that.
I'm not even gonna say the word, but we know the word we thinking about.
Yeah.
What we thinking you when you in that round, you know what word we thinking about.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna say it because
don't do it, man.
I ain't gonna say it.
Man, get in trouble.
All right, but shout out to Dion, man.
Yeah, man.